Every time I take a homeopathic sleeping remedy, I get a good night's sleep. They must work. Welcome to Friday Fallacy. This week we're looking at the post hoc fallacy, or more properly, the post hoc ergo propter hoc fallacy. The post hoc fallacy is when it is argued that one thing predicting the occurrence of another means that one causes the other. That is, rather than recognising that there may be other causal relationships, it is simply assumed that the first one causes the other. This is not a sound way of arguing, as the fact that one thing reliably predicts another doesn't mean that the first must cause the second. That Christians give more to charity in no way means that becoming a Christian will cause you to be more charitable. That suicide bombers are mostly Islamic in no way means that being a Muslim causes suicide bombing. Some examples of the post hoc fallacy. Few women work as scientists. There's something about science that just isn't appealing. Lots of Catholic priests molested children. Clearly celibacy is to blame. Several children were diagnosed with autism after being vaccinated. Vaccination just isn't safe. People who've learned about statistics are less likely to commit the post hoc fallacy. Therefore, education can improve your ability to argue. Not all conclusions about causation are the post hoc fallacy. Whenever there is a correlation between two things, A and B, there are generally four possibilities. Either A causes B causes A third thing, C, causes both A and B, or the correlation is illusory and A and B are not actually related. One requirement for causation is that causes precede effects, and so if A and B always occur in that order, we can dismiss the possibility that B causes A. For example, since speeding occurs before an accident, it is clear that having an accident cannot cause one to speed. But it remains to be proven that speeding was actually the cause of the accident. One situation in which the post hoc fallacy often occurs is with medications. Many argue that since an improvement in their condition is reliably predicted by them taking a medication, that the medication must be responsible for this improvement. The first step would be to establish that there is actually a correlation between taking the medication and the condition improving. But simply establishing that one reliably predicts the other doesn't mean that it produces it. One common way in which a third factor causes both is to recognise that many people take medication when their condition is at its worst. But for conditions that will eventually improve without treatment, there will always be an improvement after the condition is at its worst, regardless of what actions are taken. In this scenario, condition being at its worst is the factor that causes both the taking of medication and the subsequent improvement. It is important when arguing about causation to have a clear understanding of the order of events. But this depends on which events we are considering, and so sometimes the actual causal relationship is obscured by the way we define our events. For example, it is sometimes argued that atheists are more moral than Christians, since atheists are underrepresented in the prison system. There are a number of problems with this argument, but of particular concern here is the assumption that prisoners were religious before being incarcerated, as would be necessary for it to be causal. However, this is far from clear, as it is a well-known phenomenon for prisoners to become religious as a way of coping with incarceration. So in order to make an argument that religion is related to criminality, it would first be necessary to actually establish that a prisoner's religion had come before their offending. In conclusion, the post hoc ergo propter hoc fallacy is when one event occurring before another is taken as proof that the first event caused the second. Until next time, keep your fallacies to yourself.